Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Summer is right around the corner and there are several issues that already have our attention when it comes to public safety in Milwaukee. Gun violence, reckless driving, and stolen vehicles. Gun violence is a public health crisis that claimed the lives of nearly 20,000 Americans last year, and records show that there were 193 homicides in Milwaukee in 2020. A record year. My first guest is a local activist that has provided a pipeline of promise to youth in the community since the 80s. Victor Barnett is the founder and executive director of the Running Rebels organization. How are you, Victor?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Always good to see you.
Yes, yes.
Well, I think it's obvious that gun violence crosses all sectors of our society, and sadly, it's seen as an acceptable means of conflict resolution. So today I want to talk about Running Rebels and how for decades you've been working with youth in the city to not only help them steer clear of violence, but also continue to educate them on ways that they can go on to be successful in life. So for those who are not aware, tell us more about Running Rebels.
Sure. Running Rebels is a mentoring program that's been around since 1980. I started it to keep young people away from the negativity of gangs then, and we continue to do the same things now, forming that mentoring bond and relationship with young people to help them make better decisions in life. Today is not so much gang activity, but it's just the negativity of the streets that's pulling our young people towards it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And so you have a mentoring program, and you also have services that Running Rebels provides to the community, whether someone's in need of a photographer or a DJ. So all of these different things are what you're doing there to really engage with the youth, right?
Yeah, we try to give the young people a light at the end of the tunnel, we call it, where we pull some things that they're interested in, their passions, and help them to move forward in those directions, keeping them away from the negativities that's going on around them. I think that's what's happening in today's society. Our young people are kind of lost, and we have to help them find themselves. And with where we are now, with so much despair and so much negativity going around, it's a total need for that positive things that we're trying to do, and just trying to work with other organizations to work together to be able to make a difference in our young people's lives.
Yeah, and I look forward to talking to you about your work with other organizations. But first, just want to kind of shine a light on the fact that young people have been killed by gunfire at our local parks, on the basketball court, just places where kids would normally be able to go and have fun. But now, people are scared to allow their younger kids to even go to the park to have fun because of everything that's happening there.
Yeah, like you stated, we have now our young people are handling their disagreements and disputes with violence through guns. Back in the day, it might used to be they would get into a fight, but now it's so many weapons here, and it's just so much despair that they handle it with weapons, and so many shootings and so many incidents where our young people are choosing that direction rather than a different direction. So we definitely need to catch them at a younger age, put some different understanding in their heart, and give them some hope, because a lot of times these actions that they're showing is because there's no hope. Many years ago, I had a young person tell me, "Why should I get my driver license? I won't be alive when I'm 20. I'm like, wow, that's how he felt. So a lot of our young people today feel like there's no hope for them. So the actions that they're displaying comes from that. So some of the car thefts, some of the shootings and things like that, we have to find a way to put hope in our young people.
And that's where it starts. Research shows that children and youth exposed to violence experience significant stress and often struggle to identify and regulate their emotions, which become internalized and then can later erupt in aggression and violence, pretty much what you just described. And sadly, 50% of the year's shootings have involved kids just during the month of April, right?
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse as the summer months come, and people get a chance to get out more, and being able to release, because to them, they've been holding so much in. They've been dealing with so much negativity that when the weather breaks and people come out, then they just let loose. And then some of the people that they haven't seen in a while, now they see them and the disputes, handling it with violence rather than different ways. Yes.
And the thing is, we've been going through the pandemic for the last year and a half, and that brought a whole nother stress to young people who were not able to go to school or be around their friends. So I think we're probably going to see some of that frustration and, just the negativity from just all of us dealing with that come to fruition as well. Hopefully not, but just going by the research, that's part of the pent-up frustration that many people have.
I think you said it. It's almost like being pent up and locked up and being released. And when they get released, they get a chance to let go of some of that frustration to them. Anger built up, the not being able to do some of the things that they want to do. So it's like being told no for months and months and months. And then now it just boils over and it's coming out with anger.
Now, recently you met with Milwaukee police as well as public health and community groups that came together to address the recent rise in violent crime. So if you would tell us more about that meeting and some of what was discussed in trying to reverse the trends that we're seeing.
I'm excited about the efforts that's going on now. Like I said before, people are starting to work together, starting to have conversations that didn't, and we're hitting it from both ends. Yes, it's totally true that we need to catch our young people at an earlier age before they get so much hatred and despair inside of them. But then there's a group of young people that's already kind of choosing to do some of that negativity. And we have to address it from both ends because those young people influence so many other young people. So if we can turn the life around of one of them, can you imagine how they influence some of the guys in their neighborhood that look up to them? So I think working with law enforcement, working with other organizations, program Credible Messenger is taking adults that come from these communities, understand some of the struggles that these young people are going through and hitting it from that end and working with them and definitely working with that younger group before they get there. So kind of hitting it from both, I think is headed in the right direction to make a difference.
Yeah, and I hate to always focus on, the negative kids that are out there because there are so many great and positive young people that are in our communities. But this issue makes it dangerous for not only those children, but adults, the community at large. So people are concerned, and I'm just thankful to have you here to talk about some of the efforts that are in place in trying to kind of get a hold of this issue. And the city is seeing an overall increase in violence across all age groups. We should point that out. But a few of the organizations that have come together to talk about this, along with Running Rebels, is the Office of Violence Prevention, the Department of Health and Human Services, and at that meeting that I talked about, the Medical College of Wisconsin, they broke down the data that we're seeing so that you all could better understand what's actually taking place.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely need to understand what's going on, and we have the right partners to the table. Sometimes they leave out the people that's on the front line that understand the struggles of some of these young people, but those partners are at the table now. Like you said, OVP and 414 Life and some people that I've been knowing for 20, 30 years that have been on the front line doing this work are now a part of us trying to reach a solution. So I think we're on the right track. We have to get it under control because, like you said, our parks and different things are not safe. And we turn the life around of enough of the young people, showcase that turnaround, showcase some of the success stories. So now we paint the picture that all of our young people are not lost, because sometimes I talk to older adults and they just feel like the younger generation is a total loss. It's not the case. We have some young people that are making it terrible for us and for other young people to be in the park safe.
You're absolutely right. And so speaking of people being on the front lines, I mean, Victor, like I said in the open, you've been working with kids since the 80s, and being around young people every day, I'm sure you have a chance to not only have a conversation with them, but hear them talking amongst themselves. So what are you hearing young people say about the things that are happening when it comes to gun violence and stolen vehicles and reckless driving?
A lot of our young people that are not living that life, but they want to be around that life. It's almost like a feeling of being where the happenings are. And the younger
Mm.
generation, we talked about a long time ago, it was the Palace skating rink. Then later in life, it was cruising. A lot of our young people are just around those situations. And then when things jump off or pop off, they are there, risking their life or getting shot as well. So we have to find alternatives to that. We have to find a way to, like I stated before, work with those that have chosen that life, but those that's not really about that. How do we get them to do something different? How do we get them to choose something different? Finding their passions, finding out those that want a job, getting them employed. We have 65 young people that we at Running Rebels are employing this summer. So those are young people that's going to be around the right environment, headed in the right direction. How do we connect that work to other people to continue that work on? So it can be done, but it is going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy because you're turning the life around of somebody. So that's going to take a lot of work this summer. And I think we're
Mhm.
up for the challenge.
Yeah, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say thank you for the work that you do, but you're right. It's not something that's going to change tomorrow or the next day because, for the most part, sometimes people become a product of their environment. So if that's something that you're seeing every day, something that you're witnessing, then you walk around feeling and allowing that to be a part of your mentality. So to break through that mentality and, like you said, change the mindset is not something that you can do easily, but it definitely is a breath of fresh air to know that there are people like you who are working to do that. So, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, he recently announced a community-based approach to mentoring and restorative justice called Credible Messengers. And so this mentoring program will have 23 mentors from organizations like 414 Life, West Care, Milwaukee Christian Center, and then, of course, Running Rebels. So if you would talk about your involvement with that and how you're hoping to make a difference there.
That's one of those partnerships that I mentioned in regards to bringing the right partners to the table. We've been doing a lot of that work for the 40 years. Because, like I said, when I started, I had to work with gang members. So I had to have other people that knew that life and could actually get me to the table to talk to some of those gang members. So now today, that credible messenger is exactly that. How do you bring a messenger that's credible to some of these young people that's living the wrong life? That may get close enough to them to convince them to consider changing their mind. So now, and then knowing David Crowley, seeing him grow up as a boy in these neighborhoods, and now he's out front leading the charge, it's exciting to me. I love Milwaukee, and it's been disappointing for me to see where we are now compared to this great city that we used to have, and now to have it to where people are coming together to fight for our city and turn things around. I'm very excited about it, but Credible Messenger is taking all of the right partners, bringing them to the table, and now allowing the strength of organizations to be out front to make a difference rather than somebody out front talking about it that really they ain't never experienced some of these things that our young people are going through.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And the whole collaborative is going to be working with 68 justice involved in high risk youth, offering job opportunities and different things of that nature. So we'll definitely keep our eyes open for that. And as we wrap up, I wanted to talk to you about your collaboration with Andre Lee Ellis and We Got This, because Andre's been on the show many times, just as you have, and to see the two organizations come together with that common goal to help change lives is amazing. So please fill us in on that.
Yeah, I think for me, community unity was the first theme for Running Rebels 41 years ago. So I'm excited when I talk about working with others. Andre and I are so much alike. So for us to be able to come together and be able to create something that will keep both of our legacies going, being able to show our city that coming together, unity and working together is the way that it should be done. In Milwaukee, sometimes there's hesitation, but I think with Andre and I being able to be out front, showing people that these two organizations that could be okay by themselves are willing to come together and work together, hopefully that'll be the ball that gets everything rolling in the right direction. And now we can get rid of some of the problems we had in the past of that lack of unity to be able to start the ball rolling in the right direction. So I'm excited about the work with We Got This. We started off this Saturday in the garden, and we won't have 80 or 90 young people because of where we are with the pandemic, but we hope to have 30 young men in there that's doing a great job and enjoying themselves, and at the same time being around the right environment to make the right choices.
Yes, indeed. That's the whole true meaning of it takes a village. So as we in this segment, if someone knows a young person or has a child that they'd like to get involved with Running Rebels, where can they contact you to get more information?
Yep, they can reach out to us at runningrebels.org, the website, and the phone number is 414-264-8222.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. It is always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Victor Barnett is the founder and executive director of Running Rebels. Again, you can call 414-264-8222 or visit their website at runningrebels.org. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll check in with another community activist that's tackling the issue of reckless driving in the city. We'll talk to Tracy Dent from Peace for Change Alliance Incorporated, and we'll do that right after this.